Hi, this is Ma Nitya Oviananda. By the grace of His Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda, I'm coming here today to speak to you about the next series of sannyas. See, today we're celebrating Krishna. So I was looking at Bhagavad Gita, and there's chapter 2, verse 4 through 8, in which Arjuna is very confused about what his job is, about what his duty is. So he's asking Krishna for help. And then he's going so far as to say that let him just take sannyasa so that he doesn't have to perform his duty. And Swamiji teaches us how taking any decision out of incompletion means you're allowing hangovers from the past, incompletions and karmas from the past affect your present, which will in turn determine your future. So out of incompletion, because of his fear or his unwillingness to take the life of people he knows, of his family, he wants to get out of that duty. Out of incompletion, he wants to take sannyas. So Krishna will not allow that. So he's basically telling him no, he's denying that. Because Arjuna's job, his duty is as a warrior. It is to take up the sword and go to war. But until he reaches that decision from the space of powerfulness and completion, he's going to be stuck in this questioning pattern. So it's one of the major teachings of Swamiji to do anything out of completion, out of powerfulness. See, Arjuna is saying that he's saying about how he wants to go and just beg, give him a begging bowl, so he can just go and leave that place, leave the war. But Krishna is saying to go to sannyasa out of completion. Out of completion, take any decision, because otherwise it's going to be a big mess. If you notice when you're angry with somebody, if you're in a relationship, say, and you have a big fight, and you're like, I'm just going to leave you, or whatever, or at a job, you get mad at your boss, and you just quit in a huff because you're upset. What happens? You end up regretting your decision because it was a rash decision. It was a decision out of anger, out of powerlessness, out of emotion. So then you later regret that decision. If you would have just kept your cool, followed the completion process, tried to understand where you were coming from, where you were getting upset and why, and then from that space saying, okay, let me complete with this and move on, you would have relaxed and released that energy. It would have just been completed for you. But here you are now, you're in a relationship and you're totally in a big fight now with your spouse or whoever. And in the other case, you've left your job, you've quit your job, which you could have had for years. And you could have liked your boss and all the people there, but instead you acted like a crazy person. And out of one incompletion and anger moment, you've changed your whole life. And typically, it's not for the better in those situations. So take time to reflect and do your actions out of completion. You can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with that situation. So listen to what Krishna is saying. He's also advising Arjuna, act out of completion. So later, then, as the chapter goes on, Arjuna decides to just surrender his powerlessness to Krishna. And as we are so gifted and lucky and blessed to have a guru like Swamiji, we can actually take on the practice of surrendering our incompletions and powerlessness to him. Each time when you're in the space of powerlessness, you basically, the only decision you really should make and have to make is to come out of that powerlessness. There's no other decision you should be making. Otherwise, you just lead to more suffering, as I stated in the example of leaving your job or getting in a major fight and walking out on your spouse or friend. So once that happens, you begin to cultivate that relationship more and more with your guru or with God, whoever you're surrendering to, the higher power, the higher divine being. You're allowing yourself then to open up and drop that identity that binds you to your own incompletions that you're having. So you're allowing that opening up to happen so that you can allow the divine to come in and cleanse you of that and to clean it up. And you'll find so much relief and freedom from that decision to just release those things. It makes you a lighter and a more happier being. So remember, the next time you're coming up with an emotional situation or an incompletion you're having and you're just ready to yell at somebody or run off, just for a moment, think twice. Think about Arjuna. Think about his decision and Krishna supporting him to be powerful and to make any decisions out of the space of completion. That is what it's life. This is what life is for us as sannyasis. Again and again, we have to come back to that space. Thanks again for watching today. Nithyananda.